Alright, welcome to the shop, everybody. We got a mess, but we also have a new toy. So this thing was about $2.99. We bought the upgraded 500 watt motor and the aluminum bracket. Now they sell this with a different Z, and it's plastic. I got this to mostly make aluminum parts for a bigger CNC machine that I plan on building and parts for my printers. While assembling, I realized this machine could use our attention. So you have this board right here, and then you see your wires just pretty much, they got good mounting systems, but they're just pretty much exposed. Then this is the new power supply for the bigger spindle motor. Has a speed controller. What we need is a box like our printers have. I'm going to get up on the computer, get into Fusion. So that's pretty much what we have. Now what we need to do is do some test prints to make sure that our holes line up for our connectors and our screw holes for our board fit. I'll show you how we do that. I thinned out the bottom a little bit and took off some of the parts that would waste filament. Like the other part of this wall right here, we took that off. Alright, let's get to printing some of this stuff. Alright, here's our test piece. It's a GST 3D. It was supposed to be black, but I ended up with a couple rows of brown, so we just use it for test printing. Pop this on here. All our screw holes are good. Had a slight adjustment on this one. I extruded I opened this up another 0.5 millimeter on the bottom, made slight adjustments to the front here. This is good, ready to go. Our screen holder is a fail. I don't know how I measured it, but obviously I didn't get it wide enough. So we'll make the adjustments on that. Alright, here's our case printed. 1 millimeter nozzle. A little hairy. We'll clean that up. Should look good. Again, GST 3D filament. It's about the best I've ever seen one of these come out in their filament. Slight problem right here. I thought I had it. Apparently I don't. It's 1.6 millimeters off. I need another millimeter off each one of these. And then slide my holes over. I believe we could take the Dremel tool to that. Carve that out a little bit. My hole is off down here. One thing that can be done is I can cut this off and then print another one and then epoxy it on. Done that before. Some of our cases have tie downs that are usable for different boards, so we have glue in. We've used glue ins before. Okay, I'm going to attempt to remove this one. We're going to print another one and glue it on here. Try two ways. We'll try to snap it off here. No, it's not going to work out for me. To try to nip it off with the glue cutters. Got me a nick on it. Let's see if we can use that weak spot we created to get this to start tearing. And it did. Beautiful. It's pretty flush. Alright, so I worked this. I took the razor blade, held it here, bang on it. So you got it nice and clean. Let's go 10. Extrude 10. Let's put our hole on. .9 is a good hole to get a 3mm to self thread. There it is. Alright, let's print this up and get it epoxied on. Alright, minor problems. Nothing that prevented this first print from being used. This wire mount need to be slid over. I slid this one over too. It's a little in the way of the connector coming through. And I wouldn't say it's pointless being there, but it's just in the way. Here's the plan. We're going to have a piece that snaps on here and an arm that comes up. I believe it's going to be this many lengths. And we'll have a chain right here. We'll have it centered here. We'll have the arm stick over. Alright, so that'll roll forward like that, and we'll have one of our little black trays. So this board was originally mounted on this plexiglass with some more posts and another piece of plexiglass over it, so it just screwed on right here to the 2020. You had wires coming out everywhere. When you add the 500-watt motor, you get this power supply. It no longer can be powered through the board off the little power pack they give you. Also has a speed controller down here, knob. So we were going to have a wired mess back here. So that got us into thinking about a case. Has your holes here, neatly done. Couple air vents. And then your power supply. USB. Alright. On the top, we have a spot for a fan. 5-volt. If you look right here on your board, 5 volts right there, meant for a fan. So the way this works is this just kind of locks on here, so you want to make sure you're cleaned up pretty good. Yeah, that pretty much pops on right there, and then we just pop this on, and we have 2 screws that go on. Easy. This was printed with a 1mm nozzle, so all the holes had to be cleaned up with a drill bit. I'll include what size that was when I write all this up. But the right size drill bit to clear out the holes. Sometimes you can just drive these screws right through. Sometimes there's too much crap in there and that doesn't really work out. This is done to try to hide the end where there's not going to be a connector. So this is cut at about a 45 right here. And you drop this in here like that. And then you can see that your zip ties will come up. You can see the zip ties line up. You bring a zip tie from here down through the other side. It'll recess up in there. Come over the top of your wires that'll be here. Tie it down. What'll that do is that'll prevent your chain from going like this. Alright, so also there's 2 screws, M5 with T-nuts, and that'll go right down there onto the 2020, and just line it up by lining your hole up. You have to have all your wires through and your connectors through this. Also on this, there's a connector right there's a zip tie right there, where it's up to you whether you want to have the, if you put the tab on the inside, you'll just see the loop. So stick it through, back around, you'll see that one, and I showed you the other one. This one is just to retain the wire. Alright, and then your tray will go right there. And then your chain. And then I don't have the right amount of links on here, so maybe I do. And the action's a lot better once you have wire in the chain. It'll make it behave a little bit better. So that's pretty good. We can slide this tray. So yeah, that's us right there. The fan, I know it's going to blow in from the top. It doesn't seem right to blow in from the top, but that's what I want here. This cover is slightly anemic right here. Actually, no, that looks pretty fucking good. Alright, so you get the point. And this is our piece right here. Alright, so we have a spot for wires to go in. Another spot for a wire to come in. Another spot for 2 wires to come in, I believe. Alright, and then these are the 2 holes to get the wires to go out. And you don't have to feed the wires through the hole and then try to get the end to come out. So put this slot in so you can just pop your wires in one by one. Then this slides on to the 2020 right here and right here, which you see right here and here. Alright, so it's kind of ugly here. Now I have a couple options. I could take a millimeter off each one of these, and I could make a cap that you printed upright with supports, so you could just glue that on there, or leave it. You can print this with a 0.4 nozzle if you want that to be pretty. Maybe print it with a 0.4 nozzle. Alright, I'm slightly confused. I have this finished printed somewhere in black, who knows where. What this is slides in. It's in there pretty good. Two M4 or M5, I don't remember. 2 holes on the top, screws on. Now whatever nut we put on the other side, remember it could fall off right on top of some wires, maybe get deflected into the motherboard. So you're going to need to either get nylon nuts, probably is the best thing to do for this. Alright, so that'll sit there. And then right there. Alright, that's about it for this video. We'll start wiring it up today. We're going to change this to a squared tube, and we're going to hang our relay off at 24-volt relay. So I'm going to get on making that and printing that out. Alright, I'm going to edit this video crudely, get it out there. One problem for a lot of people is going to be you need an Ender 5 Plus or bigger to print this. You're not going to be able to print it on a CR10, Ender 3, or Ender 5. There's a possibility that I can make this a 2-piece like we did on the Plus. The system should be available for people at Cults to download and print themselves if you do have a big enough printer. If there's enough interest for people without printers that are interested, possibly we will put some of these up on eBay. It's not going to be cheap by the time you figure filament, time to print, shipping. It's going to put this thing over 50 bucks. We have one more video coming. It'll be print instructions, and we'll go over the assembly of it. Alright, that's all for now. As always, enjoy. Come hit us up at our group if you have any questions.